Today, we at the PrattleCast are celebrating our 1-year anniversary. That's right, a year ago, back on February 9th, 2016, we launched our very first episode ever. Today is February 6th, 2017, and it is episode 50 of the PrattleCast. My name is Razzle, and I'm here with Shake for another exciting installment, I would hope.
Oh, that was the end. I thought you were in the middle of a sentence.
No?
I was sitting here wondering how many weeks are in a year.
Well, there's like 54 or whatever. We've missed like 4 of them. So now we're episode 50.
Well, that's perfect. It's a good thing we missed it. I like the idea of 50 episodes 1 year at the same time. I like that. I don't know. That just feels good to me. I like it.
Well,
I mean, we're a couple days early, but you know.
It'll probably be like episode 102,
That'll
103.
Be I don't
It
like
better
that.
be. Well, how about that Superbowl, huh? Superbowl Sunday.
How about that sports ball?
That sports.
How about the touchdowns and the layups and the hat tricks? Yeah,
everybody's talking about it. You know what's so funny to me? And I think I told you this.
Did you know Georgia lost? Did you know?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, I'm just making sure you knew.
No, I didn't know Georgia was in the Super Bowl until like the day of or the day before. I can't even remember. But it was just weird because people were asking like, are you excited about the Super Bowl? Are you excited about the Super Bowl? I thought they were just talking about the Super Bowl. Like, like year to year there's a Super Bowl. People get excited and they watch it.
Yeah, people just
watch
watch
it
to watch. I feel like the only reason I could sit and watch it is like if you give me food and you give me beer, I'll watch the commercials. Commercials are usually pretty good on the Super Bowl. Like,
yeah, but nowadays...
And then I'll do, like, the halftime thing. I mean, granted, I probably don't want to sit and watch Gaga for a whole halftime thing. But, you know...
Oh, fuck no.
I mean, apparently, people are saying that her performance was legendary. She's the queen. Everyone's losing their minds. And I'm like, it's Lady Gaga. She's a psychopath. Like, she's crazy. But apparently that's what creativity looks like now, and that's fine. I respect her as an artist, but I did not think her performance, because I didn't watch it, but I saw every image possible, and I was just like, I don't need to see it. It just looks like a Gaga show.
I haven't seen anything from it. The only thing I saw was that thing you showed me, and we can talk about it in a second, I guess, or just real briefly, but the Stranger Things second season, of course, coming out this Halloween. I saw that, but that's all I saw of the Super Bowl.
I only knew about that because Netflix tweeted it. So I was just like, oh shit, thank you, Netflix. Appreciate you.
It leads into what I was getting at, which is, used to be you'd watch the Super Bowl. Some people would say, oh, I just watch for the commercials, just the commercials. But in reality now, you can just watch the commercials on YouTube in like 20 seconds.
Yeah, now there's probably a compilation up by now of all of them that I have to sit through because I need to know. I need to watch, I like to see if there's anything funny or interesting. Probably not anymore with the America we live in, but I can try.
But that's the thing. Like, there's no excuse for it now. You can't just say, oh, yeah, I just watch it for the commercials. No, you don't. If you're watching the Super Bowl, you're watching it because either you're insane or you like the sport or maybe both.
Or you have one of those families that, like, gathers for it and has fucking bonding time over sports, which is what my family is. And yeah. I hate it because everyone's, like, shit-faced and screaming and everyone loves each other. And then if we don't win, nobody talks to each other for a couple days. Like that's my family is like emotionally affected in our own relationships with each other. Like a hockey game will tear us apart for a couple days. It's so strange. I stay away from it.
Well, I told you. I told you yesterday because I was sitting there watching Gotham. I'm watching the Super Bowl, and I told you because we were looking at the news and everything. I'm like, oh well, Georgia apparently is in the Super Bowl. And I think I told you right then, I hope they lose. And that was back when they were up. Like, that's when they were, 28-14 or whatever, because I saw, the score on the news. And I'm like, oh, wow, they're actually, in the lead right now. Well, I still hope they lose. And the reason for that is because I love to watch people cry. I love to watch people cry over sports. And when you're in Georgia, which, had the losing team this year with the Atlanta Falcons, which, by the way, coming off that commanding lead, what was it, 28-0, and then they go
28
down
to 12-13 or something like that.
Yeah, but then they go into overtime, and and the whoever they're fighting, I don't know what's the name of the other
It's
team.
the New England Patriots.
The New England Patriots come out of nowhere and they just go boom, 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 and the
Well, we
Falcons
usually
totally
do
drop the
that.
ball.
That happens a lot
And
with the Patriots.
well, no. What I was getting at is this is the most Falcon thing that could have happened because the Falcons either are all in or they're crap. And and I also hate the Falcons anyway. And so I
You
love
hate
watching
them.
those. I fucking hate the Falcons because the
Why?
Falcons to me represent the NFL. Like that is in Georgia the NFL is the fucking Falcons, and I hate the NFL, and I don't understand the point of sitting around
Why do
watching
you
a bunch
hate the NFL?
grown rich ass men throwing a ball around. Now, I understand sports. I understand like college ball. That makes sense to me because people are going to their alma maters. They're getting all excited. They remember their college days. They like to get drunk. People are more excited. They're very, into it. It's all collegey and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the NFL and it's just like, well, this is just sad. I don't get it.
Well, it just seems
I'm
like
glad
people wasting. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. The way I've always thought out of like all the sports, it's the one that I can't get behind it. I can't follow it because you're just literally throwing your body into other bodies. You're getting head injury after head injury, and most of them end up being like really fucking dumb. By the time they're in their 50s, they're just stupid because they've fucked up their heads so many times because all they're doing is running back and forth across the field, whacking each other while carrying around this ball. I don't understand football.
Well, I only have one regret, and that is that I did not have a Patriots jersey that I could have worn on Friday to work.
Oh, damn it! I could have sent you.
I would have worn that. I would have gone into work with a Patriots jersey on, and I would have just walked around like, yep.
Well, do you do you respect or hold the other sports in like a higher regard?
Well, no. What I was saying was football. I don't have a problem with football, like American football. I don't like if it's a college ball game. I get that. I understand why people are excited by that.
That stuff's fine with me too.
But I'm talking about like national sports. I'm not a big fan of. So that would include NFL, NBA, whatever. But like if it was like NBA in college, then sure, I get that. I understand that. I kind of give it a pass if it's a college game because I feel like it's more than just the sport. It's people kind of almost living through their own past or their own lives.
Do you have a problem with the money they're making?
Oh, the college teams?
No, like people? the actual once you get into major league.
I don't think they can take. Oh, yeah, because I was about to say I don't even know if they can take.
No, I don't think they can. I really don't think so. I mean, they can
that
make money for the school, I think, for events and stuff, which I know most teams do. High school and college, I don't believe they can.
Oh yeah, the schools make money off of them. Yeah.
But the players
that's
don't.
A scam. I mean, in my opinion, if the school is making money off of it, I think that money should go to the fucking athletes. But I understand why they can't do it too. But at the same time, I'm like, well, if you're gonna have this huge fucking, conglomeration of money and shit, and the kids are getting basically fucked in the long run there. Then yeah, I think the money should go to them instead. But hey, whatever. But no, when you talk about money with sports, I mean, the society is going to pay people huge sums for what they value the most. And for whatever reason, society has chosen that we value NFL, Super Bowl, and maybe it's because we put such a big hype around it, like the Super Bowl, like it's no fucking different than any other football game.
It's just having a party, really. It's just a reason to get people together and have a party. If we're being honest.
Yeah, it's a bunch of fucking assholes just acting like assholes. I don't know.
See, but if I'm looking at sports teams though, I would say like I don't think most athletes in the major league. I just think they make too much. I think they make like an egregious amount of money for what they're doing. It's crazy that they're making that much. But I think like if I'm thinking of every sport, like every popular American sport, I feel like out of all of them, like hockey players might be the most deserving, and they get paid the least.
No, I'd say gymnasts are the most deserving.
No, I mean like out of the really. I meant out of like the three big ones that people
about
follow.
Like the national leagues and shit.
Yeah, like four actually, because I guess basketball is still relevant to people. But I was thinking more just football, baseball, and hockey. hockey's been on the decline too. But I remember when the NHL, like the hockey players, went on strike because they weren't getting paid. Like they were just getting paid trash, and they worked their asses off, and they weren't getting paid like everybody else was. And they're like, well, you look at these. They even had said that they like looked at football players and they're like, well, why do they make so much? They're like, they don't do nearly as much as we do. Like, why are they making so much money? But it's
Or how
because
about the
football's what
U.S.
people
women's
want.
team, the soccer team? How about them?
Well, yeah, all those those should make more. But I was just talking about like the three big ones really that I know people go nuts
Well,
about,
I mean,
which is
soccer's pretty
football.
big. I know it's not as big in the U.S. as like other
That's what I'm
places, but
saying. Yeah,
it's grown in the last 4 to 5
it's
years.
getting more popular here now. It's like it's sinking its teeth in. It's just taking a lot of time. And I don't know how much they make in comparison, but chances are they deserve a lot more than they're getting because they're always.
Yeah, they
Because,
deserve a lot more than they're
yeah,
getting.
I mean, because
I mean, if we're gonna pay athletes that ridiculous amount, then yeah, it needs to make more sense, and it doesn't make sense right now.
I don't know. I just think like you look at soccer players, you look at hockey players, they are always moving, constantly. Look at football and baseball players. Like there is a large periods of time in those games where there's no movement at all. There's like, oh,
Well, I
this
mean,
guy got whacked, he's gone.
Okay, well, with basketball, it's more like bursts of energy, and that's why they have to be traded in and out so often because, I mean, when you're running back and forth and doing
Right,
shit,
but with hockey, you don't get that.
No, I know.
They're like
I know you don't
they're
get that
soaked,
in hockey.
and in soccer it might be the same because soccer and hockey they have a lot of similar rules. From what I've seen and what I've played in like a video game for soccer. I don't never watched soccer, but like it looks very similar with how they have things set up.
No, I mean, if it was up to me, I wouldn't give a shit. But I know that, these people are like role models and shit. So then they get these brand deals and they get these, deals to sell shit to kids to make them think they'll be the next pro athlete or what the fuck ever they want to be. It is what it is. We pay actors too much. We pay athletes too much, but that's what we as a society value. So that is what it is. It's not like we can just make some huge overarching law that just changes how people are paid. But it does seem a little bit ridiculous when you consider, other jobs that people do that are a hell of a lot more important, but we don't really put any value in until we need it,
Like, I feel like that would be, that's something I might have to bring up. I'm going to have to go and, because I found out that Mike Rowe is a really accessible guy. That you can just talk to him. And if you don't know who Mike Rowe is, he's on Dirty Jobs. I'm a very big fan. And he runs, like, campaigns and programs for people to learn trade work and stuff. I wonder what kind of conversation would be had with him if I were to bring up how much athletes make compared to the people working these quote-unquote dirty jobs, these really difficult jobs that need to be done for the country to run, but they're definitely not as noticed. And some of them are almost like shunned for the jobs that they have, even though it's a necessary thing, like it is needed. I should do that. I'm going to try to get Mike Rowe on here. I have a goal. I honestly think that's possible. I do not think it's impossible to get Mike Rowe. I'm going to work on that.
Well, I was listening to the radio today, and I heard a story about Georgia where basically there's a law in place that keeps dental hygienists from being able to do their own practice, because in the state law you have to have a dentist present for a dental hygienist to do their job. And what they were talking about was how this is now affecting schools because, think about it like this. You could have a dental hygienist there at the school, cleaning kids' teeth, but you can't do that because you'd have to have a dentist present, which is going to cost money.
So basically, even though an actual dentist really only does almost like the surgical part of things, if I'm not mistaken, they're really there for the surgical part of dentistry.
Well, they also do like they check for cavities. They do
right,
the
right, which is still like I consider that a surgery almost. Like they
it
gotta
is
do
a surgery.
some shit. But so a dental hygienist who is 9 times out of 10, that's the only person you're seeing, is the dental hygienist. I mean, sometimes the dentist pops in to give like a cursory check of your mouth before you leave for some fucking reason. But you really only see that person. They can't have their own practice of just people coming in for cleanings and stuff?
No. Not in this state. I don't know how it is in other states, but I was just listening to the news on the way up, and I got to thinking, that's really fucking stupid. And obviously the people who oppose allowing them to do that are dentists, because they kind of realize they'd be losing money off of that deal. I mean, think about it. It would take a shorter amount of time to get a dental hygienist, license or whatever, and then start your own practice, and eliminate the need for the dentist altogether, really, in the long run. But who knows? And that's just what's going on in the world today. I was just listening to that. I thought it was a little bizarre because I didn't even know that was a law. But yeah, it is.
It's fucking weird. Well, it's
It is what it
interesting that
is.
we started on the Super Bowl because I am a person from Boston. I saw my family on Facebook posting, all of them at the big family party, because that's what my family does for any sport event, wearing the shirts that says, all of them wearing matching shirts saying, "They hate us 'cause they ain't us." And those are my Patriots fans in Massachusetts wearing "They hate us because they ain't us." And the Patriots have won 5 Super Bowls, and I still don't care.
I remember.
This is
like,
why I moved. This is I
remember
don't
way
care.
back in the day, like with Atlanta and baseball. Atlanta was big in baseball back in the 90s. They were constantly going to the World Series. But yeah, with football, I think the Falcons, and I don't know how many times they've been there. There's only one other time I remember them going, and they got so demolished through the entire game that I think that was the last time I watched the Atlanta Falcons. It was probably the first time I ever saw the Atlanta Falcons, if I'm honest. And I just thought, this is a really shitty team, and they probably deserve to lose. I don't even see why they made it this far. I don't understand what's going on. So yeah, it makes sense to me that the Atlanta Falcons would go to the Super Bowl, dominate so heavily, and then decide, you know what, we don't want to play anymore. That to me sounds like a Falcons thing to do. And by the way, I was so happy. I was on Facebook. I saw people just so sad with their little tear emojis. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah,
I basked in it.
I saw everyone on my friends list at the same time piss all over the Patriots and say how they're going to hell and they're too full of themselves. And then the moment the Patriots win, everyone's like, "I knew my team could do it. We love the Patriots. Boston's strong. We've got
Never
this."
lost faith. Hashtag.
Hashtag I bleed Patriots.
See, I think if you have a sports team, you should cheer them on whether they're winning or losing. I think that if that's your team, if you're genuinely, into following this team, and if you watch every game or you're big into it, I don't understand the people who just sit there on the couch and when their team's losing, they're like, "Yeah, my team sucks tonight." I don't get that. I don't understand that. I'm like, you know what? You should cheer on your fucking team if you're that into it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just abandon your fucking team.
Yeah, a bunch of people on Facebook were doing that. But then there's my family, all sitting together, making dinners, having barbecues before the game starts, and staying up drinking until the game's over, just loving every minute of it.
I've been to some Super Bowl parties, but I always went for just, making fun of it and kind of talking and eating.
I go for free beer.
Yeah, the alcohol is good too.
There's alcohol and food and snacks, and I can pretend to care every now and again, or I can just shit all over it, whatever.
But I don't think I would have liked going to one this year.
Yeah, you could just go to my family's house. It'd be interesting.
Oh, I would have gone.
Yeah, my family's good. I mean, there is a gross amount of liquor at all times. They don't run out.
Here's the thing. I don't have a team, so I will happily go to any party that's having a Super Bowl party. I'll wear whatever jersey that house is.
What team are we cheering for at this house? Okay,
Pretty
let me
much.
just make sure I grab it.
Who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? Because I don't give a shit.
Who's in the Super Bowl? Who is it?
Are any of the Atlanta Falcons even from Georgia? I mean,
a lot of the New England Patriots live in Massachusetts, from what I've seen.
Well, that makes sense. Well, yeah. I think most of them have to live wherever they're. I'm talking about actually from the state, because there's so much fucking trading and stuff. Like, this person goes to this university, so then they get traded over to California.
I have no idea. All I know is until yesterday, I had no idea that it was Georgia versus New England, and I don't think you knew that it was Georgia versus New England. Then I was like, wait a minute, we're against each other?
Like, you said the name of the team, and I was like, where are they from? Because you said New England, and I'm thinking Maine, Pennsylvania. I mean, that could be anywhere. New Jersey. I don't know who the fuck
Well,
this
it
is.
encompasses New England, but really, come on. We know it's a Massachusetts team, guys. Come on. Yeah, and then I didn't know who the Falcons were. I'm like, oh, the Falcons. And you're like, oh, it's Georgia.
Yeah, it's
That's
Georgia.
And I'm like, oh, it's Massachusetts and Georgia, huh? Interesting how this Super Bowl is panning out. But yeah, that was the Super Bowl. And I don't care.
I don't either.
And, you know what?
Go Patriots.
Happy 1 year anniversary.
You know
Go Pats.
That Tom Brady, what was it? His 5th Super Bowl win?
Yep, it's his 5th
I'm
one.
sure that's
and there was like a bunch
I'm sure that's like the first time ever.
It is. There was a lot of records broken, and like it was like the first or second time they ever. No, I think it was the first time they ever went into overtime in a Super Bowl game or something. This is irrelevant to me, but
I know that because people were talking about it's the first time overtime's ever been in a Super Bowl game. I'm like, I'm sure that's a big deal to you.
It's like, whoa, the game's longer. That's too bad. You got to open another beer.
Like,
whoa.
What do you do? Because at that point, don't the commercials get kind of bad because they don't have.
What are you
like,
gonna? You've only got so many planned.
Yeah, and so now you're like
the game is a predetermined length of time, essentially.
Watching the local pizza shop do a commercial. Come down to Uncle Vinny's Pizza.
Yeah, come down to Susie Q's hot dog van. We're right around the corner. You want to come down?
Authentic Italian food down
here.
Get
yourself a chili dog. We'll microwave it real nice.
A chili dog, some Italian sauce on it, and we'll just call it a pizza.
Yeah, I guess they broke a lot of records. People hate and love Tom Brady at the same time. Like, now that it's over, everyone's like, okay, Tom, it's time to retire. The dude's
really, they want him to retire.
He's only in his 30s. He's not gonna retire.
Oh, he's not gonna retire.
Like Brady's.
No matter what he does now. I mean, he's done 5 Super Bowls. That's probably a record that's going to last a very long time. So I mean, he's even if he lost every game from here on out, he'd still go down in history as that guy that won 5.
Everyone's like, oh, look at Tom Brady with his perfect. They call his life like a Disney movie life. He's got the wife, the house, the kids. He cameoed in Ted 2. He's got everything. And then they're like, well, he has everything. He just needs to retire. He'll never do better than he's doing right now. And I'm like, how can you be so jealous of a person you don't know? If you envy him so much, just fucking go do what he did.
I mean, he's basically like Michael Phelps now. Michael Phelps can do whatever the fuck he wants. He can go to every Olympics he wants to, even if he comes in last place.
He can just go to watch. And be like, oh, there's Michael Phelps there in the crowd. Cheering on these swimmers. That's Michael Phelps.
I would just go down there and just fuck up everything I do on purpose and just wave and like do funny tricks in the water.
I know, it's like when you're supposed to dive in, he forgets for a second. He's like, "Oh, damn it!" Gives himself a little chuckle. He's like, "I
swim in a tuxedo." I just go all out.
Yeah, but yeah, people want Brady to retire now. They're done with him. And it's out of jealousy. People don't like Brady because they're just jealous of Brady. And it's like, thing is, like Tom Brady, like every time you see him, he just seems like a fucking really nice guy. Like he's been involved in the, what was it? I used to work for them too. I think it's the Best Buddies Foundation. But it's pretty much where you team up with other people in the communities and you can, you pretty much like, it's kind of like like the Big Brother, Big Sister program. But it's for people with special needs. And he's been in that forever. And he just does everything. And then like there was a thing someone posted on Twitter of this little boy just wanted to ask Tom Brady because he was like, Tom Brady, you're my hero. Who's your hero? And Tom Brady was like talking about his dad. And he like got all choked up. And then he like couldn't talk for a couple seconds. He was like, my dad. And I'm like, Brady, why do people hate you? Why do they hate you? I don't even care about football, and I think he's a nice dude. People just don't like him. I don't understand.
I don't know anything about
It's like the nicer somebody is, the more people find a reason to hate them.
No, that makes sense.
It's like, oh, this person's too good. There's something wrong with them. But what the fuck ever. But yeah, that's
Well, now that we're a sports broadcast,
hey, you know what? We had stuff to say about sports. I'm actually pretty proud of us. I'm pretty proud of us. We were able to like talk about stuff. We're ignorant, but it's fine. But even though this is our 1-year anniversary, this past Saturday we just did our 2-year streamiversary.
Yeah, we did.
We did a 12-hour cast.
Yeah, 12 hours.
We played a bunch of games, did a bunch of fun stuff. Had some beverage in there at the end. Not as much beverage in as I would have liked, but I'm an adult and I'm proud of myself. Um, but within that time, we were able to play a closed beta for a game called Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Mm-hmm.
I only because I couldn't remember the name for a second. So don't let that be a judgment of anything I'm gonna say further. What did you think of this beta?
For a beta, it was pretty good. It was, open world. You have a squad supposedly, and
Ours was 2 people big. Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
We only need 2.
Yeah, we were playing a co-op, which apparently eliminates your AI companions. And yeah, we just flew around. We killed people. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of variety in the missions, from what I saw.
Very repetitive.
Yeah, I mean,
you
it's
go
still
in,
fun.
shoot the bad guys.
It's kind of mindless. I don't really see the point of a storyline, why they were putting a storyline in there. Suddenly your character had a kit or whatever.
The Division supposedly had a story too, so, I mean.
Who knows?
Cricket.
But I think it was better than the Division beta, but,
I had a lot more fun with it. Like, I wanted to play it. We didn't have a lot of time to play. And there's not time to play today. Today's the last day of it. But it comes out next month, so it doesn't matter. I think it's odd to have a closed beta so close to release. Just seems weird. But I thought the game was it was better than I expected it to be. Just as far as playing it, because I didn't know what to expect at all. I haven't really played a lot of Tom Clancy games, besides the one that we streamed together. So I just didn't know what to expect. But it was really pretty. I enjoyed the character creator for what it was. And I enjoyed doing the missions and stuff together. There was some stuff that was a little bit janky. I remember when we tried to go in again, Razzle's character just was gone. The missions stopped working for a little bit. They were the missions were broken. And the game definitely had a lot of optimization issues. I can't speak English. But I couldn't stream it because it looked all fucked up on stream. It was a mess in that regard.
Yeah, I tried playing it on my gaming laptop, and there's this weird blinking that was so fucking annoying. I don't know what's causing it, because that laptop it streams, or it runs anything. It runs Witcher 3 on ultra settings. It can run Fallout 4. It can run The Isle.
I think it's just the way they have the game optimized. It's just
might be. It's because I know it's not Uplay, because I've played Far Cry Primal on there, and it was fine.
I think it's just the game being
I think
janky.
It might have just been the coding it might just be a beta thing, because they didn't, optimize it for every single type of video card out there. That's what I'm thinking, because usually whenever a new game releases, you'll have some updates to your video card. I'm thinking that's all this was, but yeah, I did encounter that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was more fun than the Division, but I don't think it makes up for how shitty the Division was.
Oh no, the Division's crap. I also played the beta
it's getting
way back.
Worse. The Division just gets worse as time
I haven't heard
goes
anything
on.
good about it.
Nope, because there isn't
nothing
anything
good about it.
There's nothing.
I played their Steep beta way back, the Ubisoft. They keep releasing all these open world games. I don't really know what they're doing sometimes. I feel like if they put all their money into one idea, then they could have something golden. I mean, that's what Grand Theft Auto people, Rockstar, they come up with these really great open world environments. And whether you love their games or hate their games, they're very successful at what they do.
Yeah.
Like when Red Dead Redemption Part 2 comes out, it's going to be huge.
God damn it, am I ready or not? Fuck
when
yeah.
they do that open world and you can go in there again, because I'll tell you this, Shake. I know you didn't play the multiplayer because you weren't into the game or whatever.
But I can imagine it, and I want to see it for Red Dead Redemption 2, because they've been so successful with GTA Online. You know they're going to do it for this, because they know people are still playing the original multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's going to be so good. I'm never going to get off the game.
There's still a community there. It's usually the same people in there now. But it's fun when you can get a group in there. I think I told you this once, but I just recall being out in the mountains and just lying down, and I overheard some people speaking, because all the voice chat was local, so whenever someone's getting close to you, you can start to hear them. And so I heard these people chatting on horseback, and I just took aim, shot at them. Their horses went crazy, and they were scrambling to figure out who was shooting at them. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in that game.
That's pretty cool. I like the idea of the local chat. And I feel like maybe in that online universe it wouldn't be as cancerous. I don't know why. I like to think that maybe in the Wild West people will be less of a cancer.
I think any online. I mean, it's always going to be. It's always going to be. But I think they could make some huge improvements on it for the next one, especially learning what they have from GTA.
I know, and
5.
Red Dead was so good. It was so good that they could only just really they could get worse if they wanted to suck. But Rockstar's pretty smart. They've been pretty smart about what they do. So I'm excited to see it. I'm ready.
I am too.
Oh, but we were talking about that beta.
Yeah, we were.
Anyway.
And then I kind of went off topic.
Shit. But yeah, the beta it's an okay game. I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun to mess around with. I don't think it's gonna have a long life.
No.
I think they're blowing a lot of money at another game that's just okay. And they used to have it is Ubisoft that made the Assassin's Creed games, right?
Yes, it is.
See, you go from something great, which they destroyed. They destroyed the Assassin's Creed franchise, and if you disagree, that's fine. But I believe they fucked it all to hell. But they had something really great with Assassin's Creed, and then they just let that deteriorate, and now they've just been making trash.
No, I never really got into Assassin's Creed. I recall when the first one came out, it was around the same time as the first Mass Effect. So I picked up Assassin's Creed right after I finished Mass Effect, and I hated it because it was so different. Like I missed the dialogue wheels of Mass Effect.
Yeah.
I missed all this stuff I had just finished playing. I was hoping to play another game that would just get me into it, but I just found myself missing all those things that BioWare had thrown at me.
You went into it in the wrong mindset.
Well, yeah, but later I did play Black Flag, as I've told you. I loved Black Flag because I could get a pirate costume, and I could have a ship, and I could do pirate battles. It was a great pirate game. I don't know how it stacks up as an Assassin's Creed game, but as a pirate game, it was fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't think Ubisoft cares. I think they know what makes them quick money, and that's what they do.
Yeah, they're becoming Activision.
Yeah.
I think it was Activision who did that kind of garbage, then they eventually imploded.
It's upsetting.
And I mean, Ubisoft isn't even in the position to do some of the stuff they like to do. Like the whole Uplay thing is ridiculous. It's so stupid. Like I actually understand EA's Origin better than I do Uplay, because with Origin and EA, one thing they did that's nice is they will give you free games. In fact, my entire library is just about stocked with free games, almost nothing but free games, and I have a ton of them now.
Yeah, they don't even have a subscription system for that.
No,
they just give them out
system
every so often.
It's sort of like Steam, except they kind of give you their library over time to try to get you to play Origin. And it is where you have to buy their EA titles.
But don't you need the game to be downloaded on your PC the entire time to have it?
No. It's once you have it on your library, it's there forever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I don't have anything downloaded from Origin other than Sims 4 and one other title. I think I got Wing Commander 3 on there because they gave away that for free once. But other than that, everything else I have is just in my library, so I can go back and download it if I want to or not. But my whole point there is Uplay is not like that. Uplay is just stupid. It's just dumb. You can't compete with Steam, and even their games are on Steam because they know that. So you have to put it on Steam, and then you have to log into Uplay from Steam to play it, which is how Ubisoft gets around that. But it's still stupid, and they're just trying to push something that I don't think anybody wants. I don't know. I've never met somebody who's been like, you know what, Uplay is awesome. I think more games should be on Uplay.
No, I've never heard that before.
I have, however, heard many times, I wish this was on Steam. And I've said that many times. There are a lot of games I'd love to be on Steam, like that Bridge Commander game from Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, yes. And you know what's so funny? I found some games on Steam the other day that I had been thinking about buying way back, like these Police Quest games that are really old DOS games. And I saw them on Steam, and I'm like, I'm getting these now. I'm going to have to get these because, yeah. But then can we sidetrack this into something else real fast?
I mean, yeah.
I just remembered something.
Okay.
Neverwinter Nights 2.
Okay.
All right. I was playing this, and I hit the multiplayer tab, and it said, in order to play multiplayer, you need to have an account with BioWare. And I said, okay. So I clicked the link to take me to the BioWare sign-up page, and it just has a circle. They're just going, loading. Sorry, we couldn't connect. And I'm sitting here like, I bet the reason they can't connect is because they fucking deleted this shit when they deleted their forums.
So you can't even play the game?
I don't know if I can or not. I think there are some people who said they found a workaround for Steam specifically, but the game isn't even sold on Steam anymore. So, but apparently there's a co-op campaign.
But you can't play it.
I'm going to check. I've got to find a way that we can play this because it's old fantasy. They have halflings. They've got elves and dwarves and orcs and whatever you want to play. And I want to play this game, Shake.
Well,
so
figure it out. Get to work.
Oh, God.
Fucking do it. Fuck BioWare.
You know what?
God,
Fuck
they're
BioWare.
such assholes.
They've really gone downhill.
I'm really excited for Andromeda.
Oh, I am too.
But fuck BioWare. Can I just be honest here?
Guys.
Fuck them. But I'm really excited for Andromeda.
You know what? Then, like I said, this is their chance to impress me.
Yeah.
Because this is it.
I won't have any forums to discuss Andromeda on, but at least I can be happy with the game, hopefully.
We'll discuss it on here.
This is our forum.
This is the forum.
We've got this and Twitch. That's it.
Oh, God.
That's all we've got. But, let me see. I've got some stuff here. Just some little things that I thought were funny. Okay, I need to put a little thing before I say this.
A little thing?
Yeah. This is not a political podcast. If I ever bring up anything political, it's because I'm here to make fun of it. Razzle and I are of the same mind where this stuff is just, it's not stuff that we want to talk about. We don't want to have serious discussions about politics and shit going on in a podcast. It's just, we don't want to be those people. But
we don't want to preach to you, I think, is what we're getting.
Yeah, like I don't want to say oh, this is my opinion, and because when we have conversations about it, there's times when I'll be like, yeah, I don't understand how people think this way, or I don't understand this.
And
I don't want to do it here.
I think we kind of got a little too heavy-handed on some things, and that's why we're not going to do that anymore. So
yeah,
you're not going to have that here anymore.
In light of our president, who was the host of Celebrity Apprentice, and just The Apprentice. Because that's our president, some funny stuff is happening, and I think there's some silly shit and some things to be. There's reasons to laugh here, and I think we all need to find the reasons to laugh. So I've got two things that I read today that I thought were hilarious. So we are in Black History Month now. And Trump had a sit-down with a bunch of African Americans. I don't know what their positions are in any way, but they were meeting with him for Black History Month, and he was talking to them and thanking them for work they were doing and all that. And within all this, he needed to stop in the middle of it to bring up how much he hated CNN when there was nobody talking about CNN, and how much he loved Fox News. Just in the middle of thanking all these fine folk for the work they're doing, I don't like CNN. He just needs you guys to know that he doesn't like CNN. I thought that was funny. Razzle doesn't have feelings about it, apparently.
I really don't.
I thought it was
I don't
funny.
know. I don't really want to talk about the president, to be honest with you.
But I have one more thing that I also thought was silly.
Right.
Apparently, his team has been having all of their meetings in the dark because they don't know where the light switches are in the White House. So the presidential team is meeting in darkness by cell phone light to have conversations. And I thought it was funny. Can you imagine that?
I'm not even sure if those are valid claims. There's been a lot of bullshit in the news,
Well,
and I don't
there was
believe
this thing
anything
about them,
anybody
like, it's just
says.
one room in the building that they can't find the lights to. It's like the cabinet room or something. Like, whenever they have to use the room, they're like, yeah, we don't know where the lights are. I mean, even
Okay.
if it's not true, I think that's funny.
Well, I mean, I just don't, I just don't want to talk of this kind of garbage. This is just, to me, it's all garbage. I'm sorry, I don't want
You
to
have
talk
no
about it.
joy. No
Well, my whole
joy.
thing is that I just listen. I hear all this garbage every single day from everybody going left and right, and I'm not taking any sides in this. I'm
Okay,
not.
I've got something for you.
Okay.
Would you pretty much almost kill somebody for $20?
What?
For $20. Hey, I changed the
$20.
subject. Fucking roll with
Yeah,
it.
I know. I like the subject better, but what are you talking about?
Would you kill somebody for $20? Let's say you're a teenager. You're 16 years old. Are you killing someone for $20?
Killing somebody for... No, I'm not killing some... What?
Or like attempting to kill someone, like they could die from your actions?
No.
Two 16-year-old girls in Brooklyn shoved a girl onto a subway train track to mug her for $20. She was fine. The girl's okay. But these girls almost killed somebody for $20. That's like $10 between them. That's a meal at Wendy's. $20.
Yeah. Well, I mean, $20 for some people goes a long way,
Like, when I was 16, I was of the mind to, like, and I did this, so yes, I know I'm going to hell, but I didn't almost kill someone, but, I was in Target, and there was, like, I saw, like, $100 bill on the ground, just in the aisle, and a piece of me said, I should bring this up so somebody can, get their money back. But instead I kept it. So I made $100 at Target when I was 16.
What the fuck?
Wait, is it shitty? Yeah, but I was 16. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna take it. So I would totally steal $100 from somebody if they didn't know they lost it and I found it on the ground. But I'm not pushing nobody onto no train tracks for it.
Well,
You never stole in your entire life?
I'm not going to say that I stole in my life, no.
You've never stolen anything?
I didn't say that. I just said that I'm not going to say that I never stole, and I'm not going to say that I did. I'm going to let that be a mystery.
Are you really being coy with me right now?
I'm trying to recover from this politics.
Oh my God, the lights didn't work, and he doesn't like CNN.
You know what I think would help?
What?
If we moved into something that we should be discussing today.
You know what? You don't even tell me if you ever stole. I need to know now.
I don't know if I've ever stolen or not, honestly. I'm a saint.
Oh,
I'm a patriot.
I bleed patriots, Boston strong. They hate us because they ain't us. You're an asshole. I know you definitely have stolen something. You probably stole candy.
I've stolen hearts before. Absolutely.
What?
Yeah.
I've stolen hearts and I broke them. You'll understand someday.
I collect them.
Jesus. Well, now we know Razzle's a serial killer. I just asked him if he steals things, and he's like, no, I collect hearts of all my exes.
I collect hearts, sort of like
them.
the evil queen. Absolutely. That's what I do.
Okay, so what do you need to recover from all these political serial killer shit that we're talking about?
Well, I don't know. I was just thinking, I have gone through quite an ordeal this past week, which was to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah, I heard that you did that. I unfortunately wasn't there because Razzle doesn't invite me to these things.
Yeah, well, it was a lonely journey then, but I did. I did all three of these Lord of the Rings films from beginning to end. Yeah, starting with the Fellowship of the Rings and ending with the Return of the King.
You should have said that you watched them out of order so like any nerds out there could cringe and be like, why? Why would you do that? Because that would make me nauseous. If somebody did that, I'd be like, what? Excuse me? Who the fuck are you?
Well, I didn't know what order to watch them in. I was just...
It's a good thing you weren't alone.
Oh, that is good.
You can't do it alone.
Every day I was like, which one are we watching? I don't understand what's going on. Who is this?
I guided you down the correct path.
Yes, you did.
So, what did you think? Mind you, we didn't watch the extended cuts of anything. So there is, there's like minor bullshit that Razzle didn't see. But so each movie was an hour shorter than
Yeah.
most nerds would watch. Uh, so what did you? How do you feel about the Lord of the Rings universe?
It was very different than I thought it was going to be.
That
Because I'd
worries
had,
me.
well, I'd always had an idea in my head of what the Lord of the Rings was, and how it would end, and it did not end the way that I thought it was going to end at all. And so, yeah, I found that a little surprising. There was a lot of confusing stuff going on that we talked about earlier. Like, I didn't understand why these assholes were the Fellowship. Who are these people? Where did they come from? Why do they matter? Why do we gather them all here? Why are they all coming here? Why do they care? I had all these questions, these burning questions, and the movies don't really answer those questions, so I kind of had to get information on the side. So I felt like
By
the
the
movie could
side,
have
he
done a better
means
job.
me.
Yeah, on the side.
I'm the side. I'm the side bitch of the Lord of the Rings movies. It's fine.
Yeah. See, I had the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I had a shake with that, and
I had a
it
shake with
was
my movies. You know what I mean?
the music was really good.
It's got a beautiful
the
soundtrack. They did a great job with that in those movies. It's got a gorgeous soundtrack.
Oh yes, and the visual, everything was really well done, production value wise. Like even the beginning of the movie, which still stands out to me as one of the best parts, was when they're kind of
Yes.
recapping the past and what's going on. Because that part, they really explained everything pretty well. Now after that, things become a little bit more confusing as far as what's going on. And I have a feeling that if I was watching this alone, I would have just given up.
It's
But
not. That's not hard to believe because I've only ever watched this series with one other person, and it was my grandmother, and she didn't know anything about the world, and she was bored out of her mind. But it was only because she was confused. But she wouldn't ask me about anything. She's like, I just don't understand. And after I explained everything, she's like, oh, okay. Oh, well, all right. She was bored because she was just lost. She was like,
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know.
the movie just kind of starts, and which is fine. A lot of it they kind of fill in later, but then there are other parts that are just kind of like, why is this happening? Why is this? What? Like for instance, the rings. The very beginning of the movie, they talk about how this number was given to man, I think 9, and then they gave 7 to the dwarves, I think, or 5, 7 or 5, and then they gave 3 to the elves. But what was not explained to me later on, because we find out what happens to the people, but then there's these other rings, and I'm like, well, almost constantly through the entire movie, I was thinking, well, how are they going to bring back these other rings? Like, in what way do they play into the story? And I must have missed it in the movie where they destroy these rings, but apparently they don't matter. They're just, and it kind of made me go, I don't know why they
Well,
mention them.
because once pretty much the moment the One Ring of Power is made, he can control everybody else who has rings.
Well, that part
So
I
yeah,
eventually
so the
understood.
moment that they realize, oh, this other ring exists, it's like, well, we need to get rid of these. We can't have these anymore. These need to go because now they can tie you to having to.
But do they say that? Do they ever say that in the movie? Because I don't remember. I
The
remember when
only
they're
way.
discussing the 9. Like I know when they're discussing that, and they're talking about how these were the people who were given the rings. And so I was thinking in my head, well, there must be like an army of dwarves that we're going to see
Yeah, the
soon
9
because
that
they had
became
rings.
evil and all that. Because they were
Yeah.
overcome with greed and power and all that. Because well, on the One Ring it says that it's the one rule to it's the one ring to find them and to bind everybody. That's the only way that they ever really say that he can control them is by reading that phrase to you. But otherwise they don't bring it up. So unless you pick it up from that phrase that they state once in the entire movie, no, you wouldn't know.
And I'm still, and with Gollum, I'm a little, well, okay, from all the promotional stuff with this movie, I don't know why I'm going right into Gollum, but
That's it. We'll go wherever we need to go. We'll jump around if we have to.
But I had thought he was going to be like a sidekick character, like for comic relief or something.
Oh God, that's
And then
upsetting.
they kind of, well, that's what I got from
That's
these
weird.
side things, because everybody was always quoting Gollum. Everywhere I went when these movies were out, they were like, "We want it, we need it," and I didn't understand what the hell they were doing, except that I knew they were doing the voice of the creature guy from The Lord of the Rings, because I'd seen that on publicity things or previews or whatever.
Yeah.
And
He's just
so I
memorable,
thought,
man.
yeah, I just thought he was like a silly little character, like a jester character who just followed around these fucking hobbits on their little adventure. But no, he's like a multifaceted character who's sort of a Shakespearean tragedy in his own way, but
Yeah,
in other ways
he's
not
hard.
really.
I don't know. Like I can never really decide if I like him or dislike him. I understand him. Like I understand him, and I want to feel for him, but I've got a lot of mixed feelings about him. Which I think mostly stem from my strong attachment to Sam. I'm just like, you're a fucking asshole, Gollum. Like I could never get over that.
I kind of get the fact that, okay, so, and there's another thing about this Ring of Power thing. Okay, so Gollum has the ring, so it keeps him alive, and so he gets really old, but I didn't understand how him becoming really old made him become the creature that he was. Is that just his body?
I think his body just, well, he definitely adapted to where he was living because he lived in the dark. He didn't see light for a very long time, so his eyes began to change, which wouldn't happen to a normal person, obviously, but I think the ring probably helped him transform. I don't think he could control it, but I think it helped to transform him into something that would be better able to survive in the conditions he was living. Because for a long period of time, which you don't necessarily know yet, because Razzle hasn't watched the Hobbit movies yet. We're doing that this week, but he lives in a dark, watery cave for most of his life with the ring. And he doesn't see sunlight. He's like, I feel like his journey in these 3 movies is the most sun he's ever seen. So I think he just adapted to be where he was, and the ring kind of made that possible for him.
Yeah, wow. So apparently he was a hobbit, and now
He was the river folk.
Which was a hobbit.
Type of hobbit, yeah.
A store hobbit,
yeah,
which
they
I
were.
later learned.
I feel like they were the dumber hobbits. I don't know. From the very few river folk we met, they were just, they seemed a little off the rocker.
But yeah, so that was that. I don't know what to say. I enjoyed the movies, but I guess I'll talk about the ending because that's what hit my brain just now. But yeah, the ending, because this Frodo cat, who, by the way,
this
the
Frodo
entire
cat,
movie,
I'm waiting for you to say something about Frodo, because if you don't bring it up, I'm going to ask. I'm going to be like, hey, what do you think of Frodo?
Okay, well, the first movie, Frodo gets stabbed, and I think he gets stabbed again in the second movie. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure he gets stabbed at one point or another in every movie.
Yeah, he didn't really seem to be a hero character, which surprised me because I always figured Frodo would be like this heroic character who learns swordcraft and like battles monsters, but that's not the case at all. Instead, it's his friend Samwise Gamgee who is sort of the real hero of the entire fucking book because he's the guy out battling monsters. He carries Frodo up to the fucking volcano. He even carries the ring for a while. And so
well, and you even have I meant to bring it up, I just want to do it before I forget. You even have Merry and Pippin who worked as comic relief and also were doing fighting and helping with political situations and stuff through the entire series.
Yeah, they did more than Frodo did.
Oh, absolutely. They did. They fought in wars.
So all that's going on, and Frodo has to get carried up. And if that wasn't enough, Frodo gets to the end, and he can't even do it. He can't even do what he came there to do.
Yeah.
Because they set him up, because at the very end I was thinking, okay, so this is where we find out that Frodo is unique because he's the one guy who can actually throw the ring into the lava. That's why he's here. Okay. Well, we get to this scene, and he just turns around and says, nope, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, he's just like everyone else. He's just like the first guy.
Yeah, he was just like that fucker. And I just can't understand it. All of a sudden, I'm sitting here watching this movie like, I thought Frodo was something special, but now I'm realizing he's not.
He's really just a fucking turd.
He's just he's a little bitch. And if that's not enough, the guy who actually carries the coin to the end is fucking Gollum. Gollum is the last one to hold it as he's falling there into the fucking...
brings it to its doom.
Yeah. Smeagol. That motherfucker.
Yeah. It's weird. It's different. It's definitely different.
So it's not at all what I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought the last scene would be Frodo tossing the ring, not coming into the temptation, proving that there was some reason for him to carry it. But we find out at the end, I don't think there was any reason at all for him to carry it. I think he thought there was. He thought he was special because that's what people told him. But at the end of the day, he wasn't. He was nothing special at all.
Yeah, because he's a Baggins, and, Bilbo had gone on journeys and had this ring. He thought, oh, why can't I? I can do this too. And no, you're an asshole. Through the whole movie, just a little turd.
Yeah, he really was. He just became a paranoid, crazy person.
Yeah.
And
when you're listening to a creature over your best friend, there's something wrong.
There was definitely something wrong with him.
But there's argument to be had that he only became that way and only was such an ass because of the ring.
Well, if that's the case, then there was nothing special about him. No. Because I don't see how you can have it both ways. If you believe that Frodo was special and different, then you have to account for the fact that Frodo, in the end, did not toss the ring into the lava pit. Because he didn't. And if he was truly different, if there was truly a special reason for him to carry the damn ring, then it's completely lost in that moment, because instead it just kind of decapitates him.
But then you have these people like Strider and Sam who Frodo wanted to give Strider. Frodo was ready to give it to Strider. It was just holding it out, and Strider touched his hand and closed it. Strider's already stronger than him. Sam held it for how long and then gave it back. Sam is already stronger than him.
Yeah, Sam was way stronger than him. Sam, for
granted,
whatever reason...
I know Frodo carried the thing for a year and that it was tormenting him the whole time, but god damn it, if all these people can look at it and let go of it, but you're freaking out.
That's what I'm saying. At the last stretch, it should have been Sam. He should have given it to Sam for Sam to go and throw it off so that Sam had limited time with it.
Yeah, because Sam was still of a mind to be able to let it go.
Yeah. Frodo was just a fucking asshole. I don't know. It was weird to me. I didn't understand what was going on there, but I didn't like a lot of the characters. A lot of them I did not like. Then there were some that I did like.
Really?
Yeah,
we didn't talk about this.
Well, I didn't like Faramir. Thought he was an idiot.
Oh, Boromir's brother.
Yeah. Yeah,
he was a bit of a dick for no reason.
He really was.
He was I kind of felt bad for him in the end, though.
I didn't even really care for Gollum that much. I thought he was just kind of eh.
Well, yeah, I don't really care for him either. I understand him. I get it. I get you. I understand your story. I know where you come from. But, before you even touched that ring, you went nuts over it. Who the fuck
Yeah, I mean, he was already kind of a weird person
he was just
before he got
crazy. The ring. Okay.
I mean, he had the ring. He didn't even really have the ring, and he went and killed somebody to get it.
Right. It's it really... Because by everything we see, it will speak to you from afar and give you an urge to go near it. But it does. You don't instantly go I'm gonna strangle you because it's my birthday, and I want that. He's just crazy. So, but there are people who have very strong attachments to Gollum and who think he's one of the best characters. I disagree.
I mean, he was a neat character, but I didn't think he was.
I understand the need for him to be there. I understand his significance. I get it. But you liked a character that I didn't like. You're a fan of Boromir.
I love Boromir, yeah.
I
think Boromir...
You go so far as to love him.
I do, because I love the way he was written. I love the fact that this guy, he's written in such a way that you shouldn't like him, because he is very weak-willed when it comes to the ring, more so than anybody else in the Fellowship. And yet at the very end of that movie, he finds himself facing off against certain death, and he's trying to protect these hobbits, and he just keeps taking arrow after arrow, going down to a knee, then getting right back up and coming back for more. And it was, to me, that was just such a heroic display. And I love that because very few times do you see that in any type of literature or cinema or anything. You don't see a character who is built to be that weak who in the end becomes super brave and strong. To give you an idea, I think one of Mass Effect's, the original one's, shortcomings is how they don't take advantage of things like that. Like Counselor Udina is the one I always think back to. Counselor Udina in the first game is very different than how he's portrayed later on.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and watch it, but then as the series progresses, I feel like because so many fans didn't like the character, BioWare started writing him as just kind of a piece of shit who was, and then at the very end he just does something.
But he doesn't come off that way in the first one. He doesn't come off as a total piece of shit.
He comes off as he's a bureaucrat who is genuinely trying to advance humanity's place in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Now, because now he has different ways of going about this, and he and Shepard don't see eye to eye on everything at all. In fact, he grounds Shepard's ship, which I think is why so many players hated the guy, because they never saw him beyond that adversarial role. And they didn't see him as a guy who, you know what, this guy is trying to help the species advance in the galaxy and to give you guys a place at that seat. And he thinks in his head that he's doing the right thing. So later on, when we see part 3, he just does something so out of character for himself by becoming a total fucking turncoat. And I'm like, why did they do that? Why didn't they have him have a redemptive scene instead, sort of like the Boromir turn? Yeah. That, to me, would have been the perfect opportunity for a writer to actually prove they're worth something and do something special. But they dropped the ball. They just went, let's just do the path most taken with him, because most people will be satisfied with that. And I remember just being completely flabbergasted, because I love the character, not because of what he believes in or his ideals, but rather because in the original one, he was written so well. Like he's written as a character who has different motives than you do, who's doing things very differently than you, but in his own way is still trying to do things correctly in the bureaucratic world.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, you know what? Let's just make him a turncoat because people don't like him.
Yeah.
So to me, the Boromir scene, and that's the only reason I bring that up, the Boromir scene, when we have this character who has given into weakness, and we've seen him given into weakness because he attacks Frodo, and then he stops himself because he starts to realize what he's doing and who he's becoming.
Yeah, he gets really apologetic and starts to cry because he realizes what he's done, and he's like, oh my God, and because he didn't have control.
And he realizes also in that moment that Frodo's bearing a burden that he himself cannot bear. He himself is too weak to do it. And so in the end there, he's protecting those hobbits, and I think he saw himself in that moment as, this is what I'm meant to do, and this is what I'm going to do. And he proved that he was one of the most brave human beings in that entire series. Like, I put him second to Aragorn as far as the bravest humans in that entire fucking trilogy. And that's what I love about that character, and that's why I love that character so much, is because of that ending scene, how he redeems himself, because characters don't often do that.
You know what? I'm like over here nodding my head agreeing with you, and I'm like, you're right, I don't dislike Boromir. You're absolutely right.
And then you look at where he came from with his family, and you're like, Jesus.
It's really surprising that he didn't turn out to be a fucking psychopath. I can understand the weakness based on just seeing the rest of his family. It just seems like they were it's actually almost surprising that his brother wasn't weaker, because his brother seemed so neglected in comparison. But it's just seeing where he came from. It's a damn shock that he wasn't a complete tool. It's surprising.
But my favorite character was Pippin.
God damn it, I called it too. I knew before we started. My boyfriend called it too. We both thought, like, yeah, Pippin. That's going to be the one.
Yeah, I loved him a lot.
Yeah, what did you like about him?
I think it's I'm already drawn to the Hobbits anyway, because I like the smaller characters for some reason. I love halfling. Back when I played the original Neverwinter Nights, I played a halfling character. I just think that's kind of cool to be smaller. Maybe because I'm so fucking tall in real life that I'm like, it would be fun to be smaller.
It'd be fun to be little.
Yeah. And so, you know me, I love playing like the smaller dinosaurs in the Isle or whatever. But yeah, so I was already drawn to the halflings anyway. And I feel like consistently, movie to movie, he not only was he comic relief, but he's a character who was multifaceted. You know, he was brave, and he goes from being this kid, this rambunctious kid who's just playing pranks, to being this brave veteran of this war, and still doesn't lose his charm along the way. Like, he still
Yeah.
makes mistakes. He's still constantly fucking up, but it brings him closer to becoming who he is. And whereas Mary, I felt like I didn't really get into Mary. I thought Mary was just kind of there through most of it. I didn't really understand
Yeah,
his story arc,
Mary
but
was Mary was poorly done.
I agree. I don't know if he's better in the books. Maybe he is, but in the movies, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Sam is the other Hobbit that I loved.
God, Sam's great. I love Sam.
But I didn't like him at first. Like, at first, I was like, I don't really see the point. He just seems like to be a lapdog for Frodo in the first movie. But then as it goes on, especially in the last movie, is when Sam really proves that he is the hero in that story arc between him and Frodo. Because he's the only one who can see Gollum for what he is. He's the one who has to battle the monsters to save Frodo, and he does it by himself. And
he's
even
really
though Frodo,
brave. He goes into that house, that tower full of the orcs and stuff.
Yeah.
Just runs in there and just starts killing them. And I'm like, Jesus, you're half their size.
And he does it for a guy that banished him, a guy that kicked him out.
Yeah.
And he does it all for him and all for the good of, the larger world. So I kind of love that he's kind of given that final word in the movie. Because, he's the one that I'm kind of glad it all worked out. He had a family. Looks like he's going to have a good life. Because I think at the end of the day, he's pretty much satisfied being where he is. Like, I think he's perfectly satisfied with that simpler life.
Absolutely.
He's had his adventure.
He doesn't
and he's like,
need
know what?
anymore.
I don't need that. I'm good here. I like it here. And I think I can respect that. And I also liked, and I think I told you this, the elf guy, the not the obvious Orlando Bloom one, but the father of Arwen.
Oh, Arwen's daddy. His name's
Elrond
escaping me right now.
Like
Elrond.
Elrond, yeah.
That's interesting.
I liked him.
Really?
I liked him. I didn't know if I would or not at first, but as I was kind of looking back on it, I see myself in that character so much. Because I think that I used to be more of an idealist than I am now. And now I just kind of see people who are idealists, and I just kind of see them the way Elrond sees the people doing, like, the Fellowship.
Oh, yeah, he just sees the world being doomed. He's like, you know what? He's like, this is so far-fetched. He's like, what are you guys doing?
And he's just trying to survive. And he's just like, you know what? I'm going on my little boat.
So I'm gonna take my boat and I'm gonna head the fuck out. But he did have some hope, because he was willing to send his army.
Yeah, he was.
He was willing to help them in the second movie, and then in the third, once everything was good and everything was taken care of, he showed up with his daughter, and he's like, you have my blessing.
Not only that, but he gives her up, basically. Does probably the hardest thing he's ever had to do, and he does it. And but yeah, no, I just thought he was such a cool character. I know he's not very much in the movie, but I liked him. And I obviously liked
he's not in it a lot, but he is well developed for what they like. Every time he is there, they make sure that his words matter. He never like, he doesn't speak unless he needs to, unless it's something that needs to be said. So they did a good job with him, I think.
And then there's Gimli and
Legolas.
Oh God, Legolas.
Gimli is my
favorite.
Way,
I mean, those two characters just work really well together. I mean, they could have their own series where they're just kind of gallivanting around the plains and
you don't picture that from them in the beginning.
No, at the beginning,
it seemed like it could not possibly happen. And then, like, you see this beautiful friendship between the two, and it's like, oh my God, like, they're becoming friends and they don't even know it. This is friendship.
They use that rivalry, that natural rivalry that elves and dwarves have, and it blossomed into something else, and they found that they had a lot in common. And I think they use those games, like the fact they're keeping score of who's killing more people, they use that to kind of motivate each other to keep going.
Yeah.
And it was very cleverly put together in that way. And I just loved that. I just thought it was really good. Now, I didn't like the fact that the dwarf was used as heavily as he was for comic relief, but at the same time, I realized that they had to do something there, and they were pretty clever.
I mean, his character was fitting of it. Like, it didn't seem like he was saying things out of line or out of who he was. But he was used a lot for that. I think my favorite interaction with those two was actually one of the last ones you saw, which was when they're surrounded at the very end. They're like, everybody's circled around them, and he's like, I never thought I'd die alongside an elf. And then Legolas is like, well, what about alongside a friend? And he's like, yeah, I think I could do that. It took them 3 whole movies to actually look at each other and be like, yeah, we're friends. It's like, I love you, man. Like, it's like in that moment they realized they actually loved each other. It's like, yeah, I love you. We're friends. And I love that. That was my favorite moment with them.
Like, I thought I would have liked Legolas more, like, beforehand. But I think it's just that they didn't put a whole lot of Legolas in the movie. Like, I didn't really know him. And I was even asking you questions most of the time, like, who is this guy? Where is he from? Why is he here? I was constantly asking you those kind of questions because I didn't really get a sense of who Legolas was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wasn't a very well-developed character in the movie versions that I saw. So
he is a favorite among people, though.
I mean,
a lot
I can
of people
see why,
like him,
but at the same, like, I thought I would like him more. Like, when I just saw like images of the posters and everything, I'm like, oh, you know what? I like elf characters, and this should be interesting. But there just wasn't a whole lot of him in there to get a sense of who he is. I felt like we had a more sense of who Elrond was than we did.
We will get a much better feel for him in the Hobbit movies, because he's in all of those as well. So you'll get a much better feel for Legolas. But you're right, they don't really do much with him in this. He's kind of he's almost like an enigma. Like, he's just there, but never talks about himself or his backstory or anything. Whereas with everybody else, like, even though Gimli doesn't talk about very much, you kind of have a very strong sense of who he is, where he comes from. You kind of get to know pieces of his family. But Legolas is the only one that you're just like, I don't know a damn thing about you. But I like you. You're fun to watch, and you are a dangerous man. But I don't know anything about you. What's going on? Now, you had said at one point that you actually kind of fell away from Gandalf throughout the movies. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I did not like Gandalf the White. I mean, I'm just gonna put it like it is. I did not like Gandalf the White. I liked Gandalf the Gray. Did not care that much for Gandalf the White.
What's your problem?
I think Gandalf the Grey just had more personality. He was more jovial. He was more relatable. He was a bit silly and ridiculous at times. And I even made fun of the fact that he seemed to be shirking his responsibilities a lot, but in a way that's kind of human. But then there's Gandalf the White, who just kind of is all business. It's like, you know what, I'm here to do this, and, I'm in the middle of a war, so there's no time to be somebody else. And he kind of loosens up a little bit here and there, but I just didn't care for Gandalf the White.
Him and Pippin together was funny for me. Any interaction he has with Pippin, I love.
But that's more on Pippin than I'd say on him. If he was with another Hobbit, it wouldn't have been that good.
Yeah.
Like, if he was with Merry, I wouldn't have given a shit.
Well, there's the argument that when he becomes Gandalf the White, he has to be all business. Because now he's got a mission, and
he's got to be serious. I get that, but I'm just saying that from watching it, I didn't care for Gandalf the White. And maybe it is because of the times and whatever, but even so, I didn't care for Gandalf the White. It was what it was.
Well,
now they didn't have a lot of well-written female characters, I'll say that, but I don't know if that's just the time it was written in, or.
Well, you know what though? When you look at the even when you look at the books, there are none. Like, none? It's just there aren't really female characters.
I feel like they could have written one into the Fellowship, but.
See, but then it doesn't follow the book, and then people are upset. And
no, I know. I'm talking about I didn't mean like redo what the books did. I was talking
like
about
originally when it was written. I mean,
but
maybe.
I know that this was a long time ago.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, he probably didn't see a woman being able to carry out such a plan and to do those things, which is fine, whatever. They did the women they did have in the movie. And this is gonna sound shitty, but I could have done with no women at all in the movie, honestly. because there was so little anyway. It was an all male cast essentially.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Which was fine. I think the only relevant female for me was Galadriel. She was played by Cate Blanchett. She was relevant.
Oh yeah, I forgot about her. Yeah, I would say out of all of them that she was the best put together.
Oh yeah, she has purpose. She's strange, but she's supposed to be. She's supposed to be off-putting and kind of intimidate you a bit, which she does very well. Because every time I see that movie and she goes into that deep voice with like her color changing and stuff, it makes me uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, it's very creepy.
Yeah, and she's supposed to be that way because she's very powerful. So I liked her. I thought they did a shit job with Arwen.
Yeah, I felt like they did an even worse job with the other one, but...
Well, I'm going through here. Because, granted, I'm not a big Liv Tyler fan. I don't dislike her, but you're going to put her in Lord of the Rings? Okay, fine. But she's kind of dead to me. Like, it's just like, meh, whatever. You're here. You're a love interest. And then this blonde bitch. In Rohan. Theoden's niece. She's, it baffles me that a woman can so consistently chase a man who doesn't want her. And just constantly be at the brink of fucking hysterics every time he's like, no. And then when he finally is like, I can't give you what you want, he lays it out there. He says everything but leave me alone. And she's like, oh my god, how could he do that? Like, she is so upset about it. And I'm like, bitch. The fuck are you? Who are you?
I feel like there was an unnecessary love triangle going on that didn't even feel like a love triangle.
No, it was just her.
Kind of there. Yeah.
And he's just like, he's trying, I think, when I really look back on it, he's trying to be nice to her and respect her and, treat her like the woman she is, because she is considered of royalty there. But he makes it clear that he's waiting for a woman. First thing he says to her, because she's like, oh, who gave you that necklace? Which is her basically saying, are you single? Because I am. And he's like, oh, I'm with somebody. And then there are 4 or 5 instances where she pursues him, and he's like, the fuck? And then he finally has to turn around and be like, listen, I cannot give you what you need. I can't. And then he just leaves, because what else can you say to a crazy person? But I get the vibe, because her and Faramir were standing right next to each other at the very end. Do they end up a thing?
How would I know?
I don't know. I'm just wondering.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, that would make sense, I guess. I mean, she's kind of a warrior. He's a warrior. So.
But she was very
she got
aggressive.
on that. She put on armor. She went out into battle and she fought the that dragon thing, that Knight Rider or whatever he's called.
Yeah, she cut its head off. And she killed
Black Rider.
The thing is, she killed the Witch King. This random woman killed the strongest of the 9 just by sticking a sword through. This random broad just stabs him in the head, and she's like, yeah, dead. Whatever. It's like it became... They made sure to spend like 5 minutes on, oh, that's the Witch King, the strongest of the 9. Watch out for him. And like people freaked out. And then she's just like, poke right in the head, dead. It was just interesting that that's how that worked out. But
I also felt like they probably should have killed 1 or 2 more Fellowship members as it went on, just to kind of bring out the realism of it. Well, I mean, considering the way they ended the movie, they tried to just ham-fist in some fucking depressing shit at the very end, and you're just sitting here like, what is this? What happened to the movie I was just watching? Because I thought it would end on an upbeat, but it just kind of slowly degenerates into this, I want to go away now, Sam.
Have you noticed each movie just gets closer and closer to sad? Like it's like they're trying to ease you into sadness, but instead they're like, okay, we're gonna make things sad. The hobbits bow to no one. That's emotional, right? Are you moved? Now we're gonna be depressing. Like it's like they just drop right off the cliff after that. They're like, ugh, it's over.
Yeah. And then Frodo and Bilbo and Elrond, and they just get on a fucking boat and they leave with, I guess, Gandalf,
Galadriel,
Gandalf.
The other, the male elf that she was with. I don't remember his name, but they all
It was
leave
such a
together.
dick move for Frodo. Frodo goes up there with everybody. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm leaving too. And everybody's like,
It's like,
what?
did he even know he was leaving until Gandalf said something? I feel like he was just like, you're right, Gandalf, I am leaving. Thank you. Gandalf's like, I'm saving you hobbits from the trauma of dealing with Frodo the rest of his life.
Oh, can you imagine being on a boat ride with Frodo?
Yeah, I think all of them have like magic, so they can just put in their magical earplugs. Because even Bilbo must be like, let me tell you a thing about adventures, kid. Shut up. You don't know a damn thing about adventures. Because the thing is, you're going to see the Hobbit, and Frodo's just going to look worse. Because you'll be like, oh, here's Bilbo Baggins. Let's see what this guy's got in him. And you're like, damn, Bilbo. Damn. But the thing is, in the Hobbit movies, too, the whole female character thing is still lacking, which I think is immediately given away by the fact that one of the main character females is played by Kate from Lost. So, I don't even know that actress's name.
Well, we'll have to talk about those next week.
That's going to be next week. There's one character we didn't cover here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and maybe it's because you don't love him the way I do.
You talking about Aragorn?
Well, God, I love that man. I love him.
You know, I was always confused a little bit about him. Like, for whatever reason, I thought it was his father who was at the beginning of the movie who...
300 years ago.
Yeah, you know, well, they move forward time so fast. Like 300 years later, 60 years later, 5 years later. And I'm like, well, I can't keep up with this. Just forget about it.
Just stick me in a time period and let me figure it out.
Pretty much. I can't do this.
So that's it? He just confused you? That's your only opinion about Aragorn?
No, that's not my only opinion about Aragorn. I mean, it was very obvious the arc they were doing. Like, I could have guessed the arc even back in the first one when he was looking at the sword. I'm like, oh, well, he's going to eventually become king, and, you know, he's going to take over, and he'll be like a huge boost to humanity because humans will be completely redeemed now because of his actions. And that's pretty much what happened. And, you know, I mean, he was what he was. I didn't really connect with him as much, I guess, but I guess it's because I don't really connect with humans in fantasy worlds. I just happen to connect with Boromir because of the writing there and how they have this huge turn of a character. But with Aragorn, it was, you know, he's kind of put into these love interest situations that were just, to me, more annoying than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a good fighter, but usually in all of his scenes, I was more interested in what Gimli and Legolas were doing than him.
Yeah.
I mean,
granted,
he
is very heroic,
was
very brave.
He's very heroic. He's obviously like the most heroic out of all the characters. He's definitely got more leadership skills than any of them, and everybody was following him for a reason. But I mean, that's what I would say about him, is that he was the leader of the Fellowship, really. And he was the one everybody looked to keep everything together. And he was in some really crappy side stories. And usually whenever he was fighting or whatever, his companions were more interesting, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I liked Aragorn because I didn't hate him. I liked him. It's just that he's not a character that, as I'm looking back on it, I think, you know what, that was my favorite character. And I don't know if it's because if it's a fantasy, I'm usually going to flock toward hobbits or elves or dwarves or whatever, or if it's just the fact that he was such a stereotypically good guy. Like, I can't think of a bad thing the guy did. Like, most of the characters, like even with Gimli, you know, he had his weaknesses where he was like, you know, well, I guess I should follow Legolas in there because I'd never hear the end of it. And an elf going where a dwarf wouldn't.
He's like an elf going somewhere where a dwarf dare not. Oh,
and I felt
I'd
like
never hear the end of it.
With the exception of maybe Merry and obviously Frodo, but Sam and Pippin were more multifaceted characters.
Yeah, they broke out of what their typical, what their race is. I felt like
they all developed over time. The only way Aragorn developed was that he accepted his destiny. That's the way he developed. Like, he didn't want anything to do with, you know, the throne or anything until he gets there, and then he realizes
he's pretty set in his ways outside of that.
I think he also kind of just realizes that most humans are shit, so he's going to have to do it.
Yeah, he's like, God damn it, everyone sucks. He's like, why am I the only one? He's like, why do I have to pick everyone up off the ground? What's going on? No,
I didn't hate him. I liked him a lot, actually. It's just that he would never be my favorite character, and maybe it's because he's such a well-grounded character.
Mm.
You know, he didn't have a vice that I can think of. He didn't have a. It's not like he was an alcoholic or. The reason I say that is I feel like those having a vice or having a very clear weakness would make him a more interesting character to me, and I didn't really get that with Aragorn.
No, I can see that. I mean, he's one of my favorites. Him, for me, I guess it's him. Gimli, obviously, because I like can't help but squee every time I see Gimli. I just love dwarves. I don't. It is ridiculous. Like I'm like, oh my god, I love them. And I have a big crush on a couple of them in the Hobbit movies. It's kind of a problem, so it's gonna be bad, Razzle. But like I don't know, like there's just some I just love them. Oh, I think they're great. And I thought Gimli was fantastic, and I loved Pippin and Sam so much. Those were my favorite people. I mean, I loved Pippin obviously for comic relief. I just thought Sam was amazing. Sam's like a better friend than I probably have ever been. Like Sam's just such a good person. And I loved him. Yeah, those are my favorites. I can understand why Aragorn wouldn't be a favorite. I mean, I get that.
Well, you know, you can be a dwarf in Dragon Age Inquisition.
Well, I'm gonna have to be. I don't know what it is about them. I find them amazing.
The first Dragon Age, I played a dwarf character. I like them too. Like I like dwarf characters a lot.
Like I like the lore with them. I like their attitudes and their culture. I'm just like, fuck yeah, dwarves.
Yeah, they're great for any type of melee combat type scenario. But I think if you know, I mean, with any type of fantasy, I have like an order of characters that I would love to play, and usually at the top of the list is going to be halflings / hobbits, and then it would be dwarves, and then it might be elves, and then humans at the very bottom.
I tend to stay away from elves. Humans, I try to not do at all. I like to get as far away from myself as possible. So, but elves, I'm just like, elves always feel like too much.
Well, I think maybe elves are just a little mainstream, so to speak.
Yeah, they're
I think
kind of
everybody
shitty.
plays
like
elves.
Like if you ever like really watch movies with elves in it, most elves are assholes.
Like, a lot of the time they can be, but not all the time.
Yeah, but
like, for instance,
most of them. Most of them, not all, but
like
most.
One thing I will say nice about Dragon Age, at least the first game, is I loved the way they did the elves because they had two different types. They had like the ones who went to the cities and became subservient people, and then the ones who stayed in the wild and became like just into nature and shit. And so I loved that dichotomy of these two types of elves that existed. And obviously I went with the wild elves. I mean, those were always fun on that playthrough, but yeah, that's just me.
So
I think that
overall,
interest in nature is cool.
Overall, you would say you enjoyed Lord of the Rings?
Yes, I would. In fact, I'm looking forward to the game we're playing this Friday. Which is,
War in the North.
War in the North.
It's going to be good shit. But this week, starting tomorrow, I believe, we'll be diving into the Hobbit movies, which are shorter than the Lord of the Rings movies. But I really think that if you liked Lord of the Rings, you're really gonna love The Hobbit too. Because it's really good. And it's got actors that you like in it and stuff, so it's gonna be hard not to like it. But it's gonna be good. I'm excited to talk about The Hobbit. Like that now I'm excited for just more Lord of the Rings in my life. I really am. It's gonna kill me. So next week you'll have that to look forward to. A big review of The Hobbit and thoughts on that and how all of that looks. With that, I mean, it looks like we're coming up on end time.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't it? Let me see. I can't see. I can't read.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's about that time. See, and I had like discussion questions pulled up in case you had nothing to say about Lord of the Rings. Like I was ready. I was like, there's like 50 questions here. Like I was so ready for this. But yeah, I guess that wraps up our 50th episode, our 1-year anniversary. Next week we'll have The Hobbit. And of course, other random junk. There's always something. But you can email us at theprattlecast@gmail.com. Leave us a message at speakpipe.com/theprattlecast. Every episode is uploaded to YouTube each week. You can also find The Prattlecast at Twitter. You can also find our personal accounts at Shakezilla TV and at Razzle_Dazzles. We stream together every Friday and Saturday. Every other week it switches between 3 and 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We are currently, this week, on Friday, we're starting Lord of the Rings War in the North. So that'll be fun. It's an older game, but a lot of people still say really great things about it, so I'm excited for it. And we're fresh off we're still on the Lord of the Rings train. What am I talking about? We're still on the train, so it's gonna be great. We're gonna be really hyped for this. I'm really excited for it. We also have a Patreon page, which is located in the description below. The thing when you download it, you know what I mean. You can donate monthly. As little as $1, you get perks depending on, well, not depending, you get a perk, period. You just get perks, man. You just get different ones depending on how much you give monthly. And that helps with the streams and the podcasts, and it's appreciated. So, yeah, we've got that too. But I think I've got everything. That's all we've got for you. Until next time, be nice to each other.